Namaste. Welcome to Prana Stories. Today we are going to have a very real and an important conversation about identity politics, wokeism, and very specifically a UK-led caste survey called the SADE Survey, South Asian Dance Equity Survey, which focuses on the domain of performing arts. The SADE Survey claims to fight casteism in the performing arts, but when you scratch the surface, it's a completely different story altogether. Yes, it mentions Pakistan, Bangladesh, Afghanistan, and Maldives as the countries listed, but it conveniently ignores the primary religion those countries follow. Don't those religions have caste hierarchies? Of course they do, but the survey doesn't go there. It fixates on one country, which is India, one thing, which is Hindu centrism, that is Indian art form. What kind of hypocrisy is that? The conversation with Dr. Avanthi Meduri. She is a liberal academic for over 30 years. She did her PhD from the United States, and then she became the convener of the South Asian Dance Equity in the UK. So she was part of this academia who kind of framed the DEI, the diversity, equity, and inclusion frameworks. Now she is calling them out because social justice is being weaponized. She has been voicing out her opinions. She has had a couple of podcasts on YouTube. She did a Facebook post where she has spoken about this SADE survey, which is dangerous in the making. Like I said, it's no longer about fairness. It's about control, it's about politics. People with merit and certain demographics are being guilt-tripped. There is no logic applied here. As someone trained in Bharatanatyam and Carnatic music, I have never been asked my caste. Even my friends, they have never been asked their caste or their economical status or their orientation or whatever. The caste reality hit me hard when I passed out of my school and when I was getting into college. I got 90% in my school leaving certificate and I wanted to get into a good college. At the same time, a guy with 50% grades got into the same good college which I wanted to get into because of his caste. That's where it hit me really hard. That's the reality. That's not theory anymore. I see the kids in my own family go through the same even today just because they belong to the general merit category. Now that same flawed logic is being repackaged as equity and exported back to us again externally. The so-called leader of opposition, in a bizarre and illogical conversation as usual, says merit is an upper caste idea. So now what? If you work hard and if you do well, your success is also oppressive. Fantastic, isn't it? Let's be honest. These are personal, desperate times for a few politicians. And just because someone is failing at elections time and again, they don't have the right to damage the cultural and social fabric of this sacred land. That's all I have to say. When Me Too movement hit corporates, did we cancel all the companies? Were all the companies shut down? We called for accountability. We called for punishment for those perpetrators, not destruction. But this kind of a survey in the Indian arts and the way this is progressing, we are being told to self-destruct. We are being told to self-cancel. That's not reform. That's erasure. And do you think this won't affect you? You are terribly mistaken. Today, the survey is in the UK. Tomorrow, it will be in Chennai, in Bangalore, in Mumbai. As Dr. Avanthi puts it, it can very well come to the Music Academy, Chennai. It is coming to you. It will come in the dance fraternities, in the music circles, in the theatre communities, everywhere. So watch this conversation carefully. Make your own judgments. Above all, may your Swadharma guide you. So all the very important links are in the description below. Please do find the Facebook post of Dr. Avanthi Meduri and also the link of the survey itself, and also several other links that are related to this topic that we are talking about. This is Prana Stories. Please do like, share, and subscribe. And thank you for supporting so far. Namaste. Namaste, Dr.
Namaste.
Avanthi ma'am.
Namaste.
Welcome to Prana Stories.
Pleasure.
I know you as someone who belongs to a very illustrious family background. You're the granddaughter of a first Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh after the
Madras and
independence,
Andhra Pradesh,
right? And also your aunt is a very well-known actress of the yesteryears, right?
Yes.
Surya Kumari.
That's right.
Right. So you've been born into a Telugu family. So this is the picture that I want to give to the audience, because people might skip the intro that I'll be giving of you. That the picture is that you're born in a Telugu family, you learned Kuchipudi and Bharatanatyam, and then you shifted to the academia. You went ahead and did your PhD in the US, right? And then from there on, you moved to the UK in London, the Roehampton University. You were the convener of the South Asian dance. It was SADS first, SADS, right?
Yes.
South Asian Dance Studies.
Yes.
Right? You were part of that. And then after a few years back, you shifted to Bangalore.
Just retired.
Yeah. Right? Now, this is kind of the picture that I want to give the audience. Now, the other picture that I had of you is that I watched a podcast on YouTube where you actually ripped down wokeism that is going on as of today. Now, I was wondering that here is a lady who was on the other side of
wokeism. Once upon a time.
Once upon a time.
Okay.
She, I mean, now again, wokeist people will say you are othering, right? That is also a problem these days, that I can't other anything. So you're on the side who defined all of these things, right? So,
along with others, yeah.
Along with the others. So I saw that podcast. It was about casteism, the wokeism, the CRT meaning the critical race theory, and one of a popular musician in India, peddling that same narrative that is going on here. So when I also saw your recent Facebook post, which is about a survey. Now that SADS, what you used to work for, has become SADE, right? SADE, South Asian Dance Equity.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
For me personally, I call it sad.
It was sad.
It's very sad.
Yeah.
Right? So this survey, and you shared me the link with me, and when I saw the survey, I was like, this is disastrous. There are multi-layered questions that came out of here, which we are going to talk about anyways. Then I saw parallels to what is happening in the country in the politics of today. The opposition leader going about asking everybody's caste, even in the defense area, even in the police. It's all very dangerous to this whole thing.
Yeah.
And recently, what the news is going on with people calling language as an oppressor.
Yeah.
Hindi and Sanskrit is become the oppressor. It's again connected to the Brahmin, the language. Everything is kind of all related, and this survey is also very much part of that. So this is what I have kind of understood. So before we get into the detail of the survey, I would want, from your own words, a little bit about your professional life with the academia. How was it and stuff like that? Just a little brief. That'll be awesome.
Yeah. Thank you so much. You've already introduced me so well. There's not much more I can say, other than yes, I unusually went into academia from practice. So from my very early, very young age, like most of us, who study the arts, I learned dance and music in Chennai, Telugu family living in Chennai, and studied with Adiyar Lakshmanan and Vempati Chinna Satyam, studied Carnatic music from Sitaram Sharma Garu and S. Rajam. And then, so I was all kind of set for what we might call a professional career. But then I began to have some questions about, I'm a 60s generation person. So in the 70s already, we're having the emergency, and I think those were the dark years, really, and I was married at that time. So 79, and I still in my teens, and I was invited to talk at a very important seminal kind of conference in Mumbai, Bombay then, Georg Lechner, the director of the Max Muller Bhavan, organized something known as it's a landmark moment in the history of Indian dance, East-West Dance Encounter. So he asked me to say a few words. So I went to the conference and get together. It was a seminar, workshop, meeting, and I gave a very short presentation called Some Questions.
Okay.
And my question, I think you may be interested in this, was about the two lights on the stage, what I call the God light, Kuttavalakku,
Okay.
the lamp, oil lamp,
Mhm.
and the proscenium.
Okay.
So what is this two lights, I said, that is, what is this conversation between the two lights that the dancer negotiates, on the stage, anywhere in the world. So that some questions, God light, stage light, why am I carrying Shiva with me all the time? What the art form and the civilization, tradition, modernity, all those questions were contained in that small two lights question that I asked at the East-West Encounter.
Okay.
And that became my journey out, it looks like, from India, from arts, from dancing actually, to sort of engaging with these questions. I did my master's, second master's at the University of Texas, Austin, and then went on to do my PhD at NYU, Tisch School of the Arts. And throughout, and even my dance practice and became theater practice, and it's always about this question of tradition, modernity, this cultural translation that's happening on the stage all the time, that the dancer is doing. So I finished my PhD, then I got a green card as an alien of extraordinary abilities and achievements. And then I taught at UCLA and at Northwestern University. And then I came to India on a Ford Foundation fellowship. I gave up my green card and then I got a post at UK
London.
to become the convener of the South Asian program. I was the first Indian woman to take it up, go as a reader actually. And so there I was for 18 years or more.
Okay.
And then basically doing my art now within academia. So essentially wearing two faces, dancer academic, scholar academic.
Okay.
So hyphenated. That's
Okay.
what I became. That's what I am today. Yeah.
So it's almost like 20 to 25 years in the academia.
Almost, yeah.
Almost, right? Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Too much, really.
Now people will be wondering that now people have called my channel as a Hindutva Goon channel. What are you doing here is the question that people will ask, right? That I'm talking to a person who's a complete so-called leftist.
No, I'm not. I'm a liberal. I'm not a leftist,
Okay.
right? I'm an old-time traditional liberal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's clear.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's get into this SADE survey or a SADE survey. How do you pronounce it? SADE or SADE?
SADE.
Okay.
South Asian Dance Equity.
Okay. Let's get into this SADE survey. That's more to be more precise. Before I was wondering, this first level question that I have also learned Bharatanatyam and a little bit of Carnatic music as well. Now, when I looked at it from that perspective, why even ask this question was the question that I had. First is that.
What the question of?
The question of, do you belong to a dominant caste or do you belong to the oppressed caste?
So you caught that first question of the survey.
That
Second
really caught
one,
my attention. Then the next one is like, this is called as South Asian dance. But it is addressing mostly the Bharatanatyam, the Kathak, the Odissi, all these things. This is what it is addressing. So it's not really... Okay, so the question is, what is the South Asian dance? There is nothing like, I don't know whether I'm ignorant. What is South Asian dance?
Tough questions, big one. So I'm going to sort of refer to my notes. I have to be factual.
Okay.
So you've already talked about the survey and the survey and from the UK, let's call them the SADE academics.
Okay.
And they had created the SADE network last year. And this year, they're developing the project with the survey. This is the second big project that they have done in the 2 years of their funding, AHRC funding.
Okay.
So what is interesting for me about this survey is that it picks up on, as you said, Rahul Gandhi's national caste census demand, and tries to implement that creatively in the small field of South Asian dance
it's like
in the
a
UK.
test survey, probably.
Yeah, or it's a creative application of what Rahul Gandhi is asking in the field of performing arts. I think that's more like what it is. Yeah. So there is a synergy. There is a connection between the two. Yeah. So that's what they did. So to your question about what is this British South Asian dance, right? This questionnaire, as you know, which has been going around, is labeled as a British South Asian dance sector mapping questionnaire. But I think this is really an Indo-UK dance survey. For one thing, there is no South Asian dance form. There's no such thing. Although there is a geographical area known as South Asia, comprising, 8 countries.
Which is India, Pakistan,
Sri Lanka,
maybe Maldives,
Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Maldives, then Afghanistan, Bhutan.
Okay.
That's about what did I miss? 7 or 8 countries.
Okay.
Nepal.
Okay, sure.
So 8 countries. That is South Asia.
So it doesn't have Thailand. It doesn't have.
No.
Okay.
No. That would be Southeast Asia.
Southeast Asia.
Asia.
Okay.
Asia. This is South Asia.
South Asia. Okay.
So according to the 2021 United Kingdom census, this is why I have to read this. There are approximately 5 million people of South Asian heritage in the UK. And India makes up more than 40% of the population.
Okay.
So when Indians went, or South Asians from all these countries, when they started to migrate during the Cold War period, in the 70s, 60s, 70s to the UK, they took with them their art forms. And so when Indians go, it's a lot of art forms. 8 classical dance forms, Carnatic music, Hindustani music, contemporary dance forms that comes from the 8 forms. Bollywood. So it's a large corpus. So when they went to the UK, the Arts Council of England, Arts Council England, which is like our national academies, which is like the US National Endowment for the Arts, tried to integrate these arts into the mainstream of British culture. So this is when they called it Indian forms, South Asian forms. So they... it's a remapping. Indian forms are relabeled
as South Asian
by the once empire. Again, another classification as South Asian dance. So I have written about it. Others, this whole relabeling is a problem, but we've had to live with it. That's so. Because India is so big in terms of culturally, geographically, economically, all of this in the South Asia constellation and in the UK, very often in the UK, India and South Asia are used interchangeably.
That's so unfortunate. India is India.
India is So they say South Asian forms, but they actually mean Indian forms.
Right.
Because there are so many forms.
Right.
So that's the sort of what is South Asia and why South Asian forms. The survey itself focuses on India, and as you've already said, by the opening questions, the framing questions are that are posed to the respondent is that do you belong to a caste dominant or do you belong to a caste oppressed social background? But as you know, the survey also includes other demographic questions like gender, what's your sexual orientation,
Exactly. Yeah.
nationality, religion, faith, all of that, demographic questions. Yeah. But caste is the framing question.
Correct.
Yeah. So what is this then? What is this census? Right. So I was thinking, firstly, when I saw it just this last week, I said, what is this census? Is it a caste census? Yeah. A caste census collects data on individual caste affiliations in a particular sector. Yeah. While a demographic survey looks at the generic, more general questions.
Yeah.
This survey does both. Yeah. So since it does both, it can be read as both. Yeah. And so it reads like I'm saying, as I've said on the Facebook post, it reads like a Indo-UK caste census. Yeah, because India is prominent in this. Yeah, right. Indo-UK caste census and a South Asian DEI.
There it goes.
Diversity, equity, inclusivity survey rolled into one. Yeah. I'm from the UK now. I was there in the US. In the US, it's called DEI.
Yeah.
Diversity, equity, inclusivity. Yeah. In the UK, it's called EDI.
Okay.
Equality.
Jumble up the word.
No. Okay. And it's equality. It's not equity.
Oh. Okay.
It's crucial.
Crucial, yeah.
But now what SADE has done is so it's equality, diversity, inclusivity. I'm actually the officer for equality, diversity, inclusivity in the UK.
Okay.
Even now, even though I've retired, I'm former Eurohampton employee. So it's not equality, diversity, inclusivity, but it is equity now.
Okay.
Yeah, SADE is South Asian Dance Equity.
Okay.
That's a major sort of change.
Sure.
Yeah. So that's what this census. So it's both. It's a caste census, an Indo-UK caste census, and a DEI, diversity, equity, inclusivity survey.
And you have also mentioned there is also US into this, right?
I will come into that later. Yes.
Okay.
That is a bit, we can talk about that later. Yeah, absolutely. So it's not just, it's not just the 7 or 8 countries of South Asia in the survey. Yeah. You're right. There's US, Canada, and UK. Included. So that makes it 11 countries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do I get a sense that wherever Indians are there, it is that survey? Is that correct?
Yeah. How do you say more?
Wherever there are Indians more, in the US there are more Indians.
Oh, I see.
In the UK there are Indians.
I don't know. I don't know why they have put included into the 7 countries of South Asia, US, Canada, and UK. You'll have to ask them.
Yeah.
Because the survey says, I think, you can address questions to them.
Sure.
You can write them and ask them why they have included these 3. And it could be because lots of Indians
Majority
are... Yeah. It could be.
Okay.
Yeah. So why UK is what you said, right?
Correct, yeah.
So the SADE survey is, I think, audacious. As no such mapping has been attempted in the history of Indian performing arts or British South Asian arts.
Yeah.
This is unprecedented, groundbreaking, the first pioneering effort at a survey. Yeah. So a little bit of a context for this. Yeah. After the formation of the Indian Republic in the 1950s, the Nehruvian government abolished caste discrimination legally, constitutionally, and created and seized collecting caste data. Caste census, desisted from creating a caste census, because the government felt that would be divisive.
Mm.
It would not promote national unity.
Yeah.
Yeah. As a result, no caste census has occurred in Indian dance, Carnatic music, and performing arts for over 70 years.
Yeah.
This is absolutely crucial. And I think the survey should have mentioned this, that has not been done for 70 years, and
Yeah.
it's being done
No.
now for the first time. That's a crucial omission, because I think respondents need to have that information. Yeah. Now we've already talked about the sheer scale of the survey. It's distributed. I think it should be distributed in 11 countries, including India, UK, US, Canada, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bhutan. We forgot Bhutan. Afghanistan, Maldives, and Nepal. Our Prime Minister went to Maldives recently, received the civilian honor.
Yeah.
So into this, so it's the survey now is reaching out to all these 11 countries in the world. Yeah. Now, what is this survey going to do? How is it going to be used? It's going to be given to funders, venue managers, producers, curators, universities, and legislators, and used to inform DEI policy and anti-caste legislation in India, Britain, US, and South Asian countries. This is the scope of this survey. Yeah. So why I wrote the Facebook page is I thought people should know about this context, this global context, how this SADE survey would be used. So that's where you saw it, and then you came to me, and we are having this conversation. So how will I think the respondents then, or you've already asked the question, how will the caste-based SADE DEI survey be used in India, UK, US, and how might this survey impact the dance sector, the Carnatic music center, the performing arts sector, communities, institutions, public policy, and legislation?
I can't imagine this.
It is. So now it's implemented. It's given not just to a funding curator in the UK. It can very well be given to T.M. Krishna, in Chennai. And it can very well be implemented in the Music Academy.
Correct.
Yeah. And not just now they've done it for dance, but you can replicate this for Carnatic music, for theatre, for visual arts, for folk arts, for indigenous arts. The scope is immense. Yeah. And so I thought, that since the stakes are so high, I should write about it at least. Because where else am I able to speak about it so quickly? Because, publications, when you want to publish something, it takes a long while to get published. So I just went and wrote it on my Facebook page.
So, can I ask the question?
Yeah.
The other question that came to my mind was, now they are, like you said, it's talking about diversity, inclusion, and all these things, equity and
equality. Yeah.
Now it's become equity, right?
Yeah.
So the other aspect of this is also that this is an example that I kind of grabbed when I was kind of researching about the critical race theory, which you spoke about in your podcast. The simplest explanation of that critical race theory is this, right? This, like, a white man and a black man goes to a cafe. What does the barista do? Who does he give the coffee to? If he gives the coffee first to the white man, he's a racist. If he gives the coffee to the black man, he's sympathizing with the black, tokenizing him, and then also he's at a problem.
Yeah, he's damned if he does, he's damned if he doesn't.
Right?
Yeah.
So I was thinking, isn't it simple that do it on a first come first serve basis? Why are you bringing in such a big theory for this internalized racist mindset that we have? It's just go with what is more transactional or more neutral stuff. So this is one thing which I had.
So what is it trying to do is this critical race theory, this wokeism, this survey, everything is kind of putting us into two categories, polarizing us into two categories,
I think that's safe to say. Yeah.
right? Oppressed and the oppressor,
Yeah.
right? Who is oppressing you,
The
right?
oppressor and the oppressed.
Yeah,
Shift
oppressor.
it.
Yeah, oppressor and the oppressed.
Yeah.
It's like polarizing.
Yeah.
But then you're also talking about diversity.
Yeah.
How your diversity, but you're saying polarize into two categories, into two buckets. Are they confused, or what is it? I mean, since you're in the academia, how is it like? Does it even make sense?
Oh yeah, they are not confused.
Okay.
These are very well thought out
Okay.
classifications, categories. The oppressor, oppressed.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And they are deployed very, how should I say, carefully,
Mhm.
deliberately, and with intention.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's no confusion here.
Okay.
Yeah. So what these terms do, I don't like these terms, and I have written against this about it
Mhm.
and taken a position on this. I think these terms are prejudicial terms, right? They freeze people
Yeah.
into identity boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you said, the oppressor and the oppressed. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and they not only freeze artists, right, into these boxes, which is really, unfortunate. They freeze curators, venue managers,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
heads of institution. Everybody falls into these brackets.
Yeah.
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 And that is scary for me.
Yeah.
To divide the world into these power blocks.
Yes.
Right, the victims, a victimhood, and supremacy.
Correct.
Yeah, on the one hand, the supremacists, victimizing, and these categories. Yeah, these oppressor oppressed categories I've written about it.
Correct.
Are not benign and can potentially engender internal conflict. Yeah, within the minority Indo-British art sector.
Right.
Yeah. Dance sector there and here. Yeah, Indo-UK sector here. Yeah, these conflicts could divide and fragment the sector. Yeah, from within along caste lines. So internally you will start fighting each other.
Correct,
the
yeah.
cannibalization for a small pot of money that is available. Yeah. So the oppressor oppressed categories are problematic. They divide the world, the universe, into this camps and divide the sector. It could fragment, like India fragmented, during the long 19th century. Yeah, on these lines. Caste itself is a colonial classification.
Correct.
Yeah. And we have an example of what it did to a civilizational, country, which we now today call India or Bharat. Yeah. So these categories, Praveen, were not used before my colleagues, the SADE academics came and remapped.
Okay.
They remapped, just like Rahul Gandhi is remapping, by creating these categories, minority categories, and demanding, asking for a caste census. Yeah, they have now remapped. The SADE academics have remapped the Indo-UK and the South Asian art sector. Yeah.
I mean, I don't remember, because like I said in the beginning, that when I started learning dance or music, nobody asked me before I entered into their space, what is your orientation, what's your caste, or what does your father earn. Nobody asked me anything, and I don't think in my class, wherever I have attended, nobody even bothers about it. No one cares. I don't know where this survey is
but
coming.
how they you've read CRT scholarship, critical race theory scholarship. Those of us, I'm Brahmin. Yeah. So those are whatever that means. Yeah. So whatever that means today in the global world. Yeah. What the CRT scholarship says is that we are not aware of our own privilege. And so that we need to check our own privilege all the time.
So it's like guilt tripping you. It's almost that, right?
It's asking you to be apologetic.
Yeah, it's like
It's
guilt tripping you
asking
that you are
you-
born into this.
And
so-
you are not aware of it.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I mean, why I said about my classes, there were so many diverse people in my class. It's not just the Brahmins. It was non-Brahmins. There were Christians.
Yeah.
There were also Muslims,
Yeah.
even in terms of religion.
Yeah.
And nobody asked caste to each other.
Yeah.
And
You know-
nobody asked their economic status as well. It's just learning.
In Kuchipudi Arts Academy in the 70s, when I was studying with Vempati, it was the same. There were
Yeah.
there were more non-Brahmins. Never thought about all of these things
Correct.
at that
Yeah.
time. Then there were Brahmins.
Yeah. So it's,
Yeah.
it's like...
And he was a Brahmin teacher.
Exactly.
Vempati Chinna Satyangaru.
Yeah.
Kalakshetra is the same thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have, targeted Kalakshetra as a Brahmin institution. What is Brahmin about Kalakshetra?
Right. Right.
Yeah. What is the composition of the institution today? What was it in the 1940s?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is I think, a false narrative.
Yes. So since they have these countries there, I just want to know, I'm just curious to know.
Yeah.
It's mostly India centric, and again it's more specifically Hindu centric. If I were to judge this
Yeah.
survey,
No,
it is
you're-
mostly...
I don't know how you understood this, but their launch event was
Yeah.
actually called the SADE network was launched with a virtual conference called Decentering India and Hinduism or something
Yeah,
like that.
Hindu centric. So I read that word in
yeah.
the survey itself.
Yeah.
That
Oh, yeah.
what are they against?
Yeah.
Hindu centrism,
Casteism.
Hindu centrism, and cisgenderism,
Yeah.
and heteronormativity.
Yeah.
That even if
DEI. These are all
I shouldn't
DEI.
call myself normal. So if I am a heterosexual and accepted whatever the sexual orientation I have, they look at me as a problem guy, right? Because this is, it's like I am on the oppressor category.
Yeah.
I didn't even think that way. That you're making me think that way. Is that not, that itself is oppression, right?
But yeah, it is. But why shouldn't the oppressor be oppressed? That's once upon a time oppressor. Why let him understand oppression?
This is so confusing. I mean, it's I don't know. Sometimes it's very funny.
But that is why Trump is against all of this. This is
Yeah.
why they had the Woke Act in Florida in 2022.
Suppose
Yeah.
I work for a networking company.
Yeah.
So today I also recruit people. There are girls coming in, there are men coming in, all sorts of people coming in. Now, instead of their skills, I look at what they do privately, and I look at how they appear or whatever. Is my work going to get done? No. I will look at them in terms of their skill sets. That's what I do, right? Their attitude and stuff like that. If this comes into my work area, I'm sure it is coming. It's already there.
It's already here.
Right?
Yeah.
And I have to call them by their pronouns and stuff like that. I've seen that in the US.
Yeah.
That's happening. That's very difficult to talk to them because someone says
Pronouns are important.
he, she, they, them.
Yeah, yeah.
It's very difficult to change my grammar. So you are oppressing me that I have to change my grammar. I've been used to this, that I have to call you.
So tough luck. Tough luck. So come into the new world. Yes, that's what they are saying. This is
Wow.
the new world. Learn, unlearn, come into the new world.
So in the name of this is, I think the end goal here is social justice,
It is.
right? But you're culturally damaging the whole thing. What's the end goal here? Can you, I mean, when you were defining this, when you were part of it, what's the end goal?
Well, social justice is a term that is weaponized today.
Okay.
In his manifesto, definitely last year, when 2024 manifesto, social justice is top on the list there. He's weaponizing. He's creating he is politicizing minorities. Yeah. Social justice has become a hugely politicized, geopolitical buzzword. Yeah, it's associated with human rights, with the UN, with education, with on the ground politics, like here, and also what I've written on my Facebook. Seattle, which is the city in the US, became the first city in 2023 to ban caste discrimination. So caste has been included into law in the US as part of the protected characteristics. So, and how did they get there? How did they do this? They did it through social justice. So it's weaponized, the term.
Yeah.
Is it complicated?
Yeah, it is.
You have to think about all of the small things, like you said, your dance class or my dance class. All of these are not local little places anymore. Everything is impacted by geopolitics. It's huge. The macro world, the bigger world,
but I think
is impacting.
But I think they're far away from reality, and there is some agenda that is there. I don't know, is it to divide people, or is it to change regimes, or is it to control
all
people?
All of that, I think. Now we are talking about US aid, right, and it's all of that.
Yeah, because when I saw, this is again, I'm being very, I'm thinking this is a very freewheeling conversations.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the survey was funded by the Rockefeller Foundation.
No, AHRC, which is similar to, of that scale. AHRC is Arts and Humanities Research Council.
Okay.
So it's generous funding. It's very prestigious.
Sure. Oh yeah, it is prestigious.
Yeah.
And many of your research work that you are doing with the academia. Once upon a time. I
was funded too.
Where you were funded by Rockefeller Foundation, Ford Foundation,
yes,
and all these things. And we have heard news from the recent history in India that all these people were funding very much things which will pave way to regime changes in India.
Okay, so then when I was getting all my scholarships and studying in the US, that moment is different from what happened in the Black Lives Matter movement. Yeah, so 2010, I mark 2010 as a watershed moment where things changed.
Why was that change?
That is all of this. It is the BLM movement, Black Lives Matter movement, CRT scholarship, oppressor oppressed, becomes mainstreamed. It goes out of academia into the world, and people are using this terms across disciplines and so on. So that moment of 2014, when T.M. Krishna is rising to become the woke artist, that's where things are changing. That's when Modi becomes the prime minister. That's when the opposition is taking an opposite position. The polarization is happening. So that moment of 2010 is different from what happened before. So I'm exempted. I am not part of that. I am the old liberal.
Okay.
I'm almost irrelevant to today's to the moment of today.
Okay.
Yeah. This is woke. This is far left. This is this generation is committed to social justice in this way that you're talking about. They've weaponized the term, and it's problematic.
Yeah.
So lots of academics, academics are now writing against the woke movement, both from the right and the left.
Yeah.
So it's not just Trump saying or stop the woke movement or dismantling DEI now in the US. Yeah,
because it has gone to the extreme.
It's gone to the extreme.
Yeah. So liberalism as such in its originality, was promoting equality.
That's right, Praveen. Yes.
So, but then
that became equity.
And then it also went into extreme individualism.
Yes.
Right? I can be anything.
Careerism too.
Careerism also, right? Anything can be, I can say anything.
Yeah.
That's the individual freedom that it is kind of giving as a weapon to the people.
Yeah.
Right? So that is dangerous. That's what we are saying. Okay. So like I said, the end goal is something like what I have read through it is probably to control people, or I don't know whether you can even control people, or regime change,
That's
or an
very good.
anti-establishment thing.
No, the word they are using now is woke dogma. So it's
Okay.
become dogmatic.
Yeah.
It's become almost like the right.
Right.
You see, if the
Exactly.
right was conservative and
Correct.
dogmatic,
Yes.
yeah, the woke that was opposite of it has become like it.
Correct.
So we have books now, a book recently, woke dogma,
Hmm.
woke religion. Yeah.
Okay. So then, so I've read a little bit of Marxism.
Yeah.
So Marxism believes in this thesis and the antithesis kind of a
Yeah.
theory, if I'm right.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah.
So then there is this conservatives,
Yeah.
and then you bring in this people. So make them fight against each other. Is there a deep state that is doing all this, or can we even find out that?
It's too complex now. We'll talk about it in
Sure,
our
sure.
other sessions, but yeah, it's also networked.
Yeah.
If you look at the SADE network itself, look at its partners.
Yeah.
Human Rights Collective in the UK, with partners in Jharkhand, Kolkata, universities, members, networks. It's also dispersed, all interlinked, all networked.
Yeah.
So you can't, what is the deep state here? Where is it operating?
Yeah.
You can't even pinpoint. We can talk about this. This is a larger issue, actually. Yeah. So
we'll definitely take it into our next episode, and then the next episode I want to focus on this, what we spoke about in terms of where is the target here. It's basically India.
Dismantling the classical.
The classical.
T.M. Krishna, I talked about it the other. Dismantling the classical.
And the keyword is also Brahmanical.
Yeah, dismantling Brahmanical patriarchy.
Yes.
Patriarchy.
Yeah, that's the word that people use so loosely.
Yeah.
Left, right, and center, Brahmanical patriarchy, internalized patriarchy. We'll talk about this in the next episode.
Yeah.
So I think we can conclude this here and then move on to the next one.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yeah, for this conversation.
Thank you so much.